Hey everyone, Brian Zane here. I'm on the road once again in Portland, Oregon. I'm in my childhood bedroom with my weird-ass curtains, but I had to talk to you about what just happened Thursday night with the All Elite Wrestling Rally/press conference in Las Vegas at the pool area of the MGM Grand. Lots of big stuff here. We're starting to see the card for Double or Nothing this Memorial Day weekend finally begin to take shape. For a long time, people were asking, well, what kind of matches are going to be announced? We're finally seeing that take form after what we saw on Thursday. First off, they announced during the pre-show that AEW will be partnering with AAA in Mexico on top of their previously announced partnership with OWE in China. So I think a lot of American fans are going to have their eyes open to a lot of the fresh, exciting talent that you're seeing in those parts of the world that we might not get a whole lot of exposure to. I think AEW is going to go a long way into giving those companies a lot of exposure. As far as individual talent at the press conference being announced, we saw Sammy Guevara, the AAA Cruiserweight Champion, make his presence known. We saw Sonny Kiss make his way out as well. The Lucha Brothers showed up to crash the Young Bucks time on stage. It got very physical, heavily implying we'll be seeing a match between those two teams at Double or Nothing. That's going to be a barn burner. We also saw the women's division for AEW get some huge boosts, not only in numbers, but also in credibility. Now, ever since Jacksonville press conference when Britt Baker and Penelope Ford were signed and announced for the company, lots of fans want to know, well, who's next? What other women are going to get signed? We found out some answers in a big way on Thursday. First off, Yukawa Sakazaki from Japan. They got Aja Kong, who is a huge Joshi legend. She needs no introduction, and I think that's going to be a huge boost in credibility for the women's division to get such an esteemed veteran female in the company. Live on stage, they announced Kylie Rae, who's been making huge waves in the indie scene as of late, and then Nyla Rose, who I believe makes her the first transgender woman, first transgender wrestler, period, to be signed to a major American company. So huge congratulations to Nyla Rose for getting signed. If you want to find out more about Nyla, I interviewed her and some other LGBTQ wrestlers a couple of years ago on my channel. I'll put the link to that up here in the corner. And of course, the cherry on top to this whole press conference was the announcement and the arrival of Kenny Omega officially signing with AEW. Huge get for them. I know a lot of fans were speculating whether or not he'd go to AEW or WWE, and of course now we know where he is headed. And of course, the big face-off we saw at the end between he and Chris Jericho that got a little physical on stage, heavily implying we'll be seeing an Alpha versus Omega rematch at Double or Nothing. And if you saw their match in New Japan, then I'm very excited. Based on that, I'm very excited for what's going to happen in Las Vegas. So with the announcements we saw on Thursday, that brings the roster of AEW, the confirmed names that is, to a very impressive list. Not only do you have Cody and the Young Bucks and Brandy Rhodes, of course, Hangman Page, SCU, Pac, Chris Jericho, MJF, Joey Janela, Britt Baker, Penelope Ford, and now all the new talent that was announced Thursday. Sammy Guevara, Sonny Kiss, the Lucha Brothers, Yukawa Sakazaki, Aja Kong, Kylie Rae, Nyla Rose, Kenny Omega, and I'm sure much more to be announced. You know, based on what we saw between the Jacksonville and Las Vegas announcements in terms of talent announcements, I think that AEW's roster right now is looking very interesting, very captivating. I'm very curious to see where it's going to go from here. You got the combination of the older established veterans, the young up-and-comers you might not know much about, and just the fact they signed Sonny Kiss and Nyla Rose to contracts, to me, speaks volumes about AEW's philosophy, how progressive and forward-thinking they are. It makes me very hopeful and very encouraged, and again, captivated and curious about what the roster is going to hold in the future. You know, I saw a meme the other day on Twitter saying that until they had a card announced, AEW is just a t-shirt company. Well, based on what we saw in Las Vegas Thursday night, clearly AEW is more than just a t-shirt company now, as the card for Double or Nothing finally begins to take shape, as I mentioned. We know for sure Hangman Page versus Pac. We know for sure SCU is challenging Shima from China and two other OWE standouts yet to be named in six-man tag team action. We've got the heavily implied Alpha versus Omega 2, the also heavily implied Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers, and that's just what we have so far. And if you saw All In and you know what kind of matches they had then you know that you're in for quite an event with Double or Nothing. So did you watch the press conference Thursday night? I think I saw somewhere as many as 51,000 people at any given time were watching. I think the Kenny Omega announcement played a huge part in that number, but be that as it may, a lot of eyeballs were on AEW on Thursday night. Let me know what you thought about it and what your favorite part of the press conference was in the comments section below. I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.